Big Rick from Vegas Profile Stories. We're going to drop a hot one on you this morning. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. Rick's ready to get it. Let's get it. Let's go. Rick, how you doing?
I just got out of the hospital.
Not as excited as me.
No. Today's the first day that I haven't had a fever of 103 or higher.
Yikes.
So, I went to the ER. I don't have insurance, so they they didn't want to
Give you
admit
the
him.
old runaround.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh yeah, good luck with your man flu. Here's 2 Tylenol, beat feet, homie." They didn't even do no blood work or nothing, bro. It was all bad.
Wow.
Sent me home with 103-degree fever.
So we'll just open it up with you guys. We're going to give you a story about the life and times, crimes of Jethro Pettigrew, man, a legend from San Jose. Before we get into this, if you feel like donating or, we got the donations open now on here. We are
Monetized.
raising money for the homie Rick right here to get a car. He's respectfully at the $700 amount. We're shooting for like $2,500 or as close as we can get. But hey, it's Vegas. It's hashtag Vegas Rick C80 on Cash App, or you can shoot me a Zelle or a Chime or a donation on here and just put car. We'll make sure it gets to them. If you just want to donate to the both of us, just hit donate. We'll split it up like thieves.
For sure.
So,
What's up?
So, how do we even start this? How do we get into this about this legend? We got to make it right.
Obviously, we're talking about Jethro Pettigrew, one of the most beloved Hells Angels to ever live, and San Jose president, and was sent to the upper room in something with the Vagos, which we'll get into a little bit later, I think.
Right.
So, Jethro's this type of guy. He had the balls to punch a Vago in his mouth in a casino full of Vagos with only a couple of Hells Angels there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jethro's the only Hells Angel you can see in that video.
Oh,
was there anyone else there when he socked that dude? I mean, like in
Caesar.
Within
Caesar.
Caesar was putting in work too.
Caesar put in work with him. Caesar was shoulder to shoulder with Jethro. Caesar was standing right next to Jethro when he went down. Caesar was helping to stomp the Vago.
And Caesar
with
put
Jethro when
bullets
Jethro was
in
hit.
somebody's buttocks.
And Caesar did shoot Boo Radley in his
buttocks.
It was in his stomach, I believe. But I know it was in his. He was hitting the foot, maybe.
He was hit. We know that.
It wasn't in the butt, though.
And listen,
that's just the Hells Angels version of it. So that's what you've heard is you're going to get like the most ruthless, but at least I give a fair shake.
Right, the tip of his pecker got cleared right off.
Yeah, blew the head right off that thing.
He never pissed the same again, kiddo.
But there's the Vago truth, the Hells Angels truth, the video camera.
There's not a lot
and
of
then
club
there's like
members.
a center.
There's not a lot of club members in both clubs that, like, when you talk to some of the Mongols, they'll say good things about Jethro.
Yes.
And that is so far and few in between, and shows how much of a righteous dude Jethro was. And he was like a town hero. He did things for his community. He had like a community job, right? Like with the waste department or something. He knew everybody, and everybody loved him and respected him.
When I talked to Dragon Man from the Vagos, who was a national sergeant, I was told we all like Jethro. There was no conspiracy to get Jethro, or else we would have hit Jethro right then and there. We wouldn't have tried to make it cool twice, and then as Jethro's walking by, it happens.
You could see in the video
because of jabbers.
People were trying to make it cool, or maybe tap Jethro on the shoulder and say, "Hey, dude, I'm trying
They
to hold
were.
my dogs back. Can you get a move
Yeah.
on? And Jethro was pride. What you did say is it,
No.
and a lot of people say it wasn't planned, but that guy, the lurker throws me off. So he was either just watching or he had his own plan. But that the dude that did it, he seemed like he might have had a plan. But I don't know. Who
You,
knows if it wasn't until Jethro wouldn't leave.
here's the thing. That's Romeo, right? Romeo is from South America. I believe he's El Salvadorian,
He
which
knows when it's
already
time.
makes it, you know how to act in a situation like that if you grow up in the streets of El Salvador,
You've
right?
seen more than the usual person.
He was the president of the charter down there, and his blood first cousin was Boo, who was just hit with one by Caesar. So the way he acted is the way he acted, but I firmly believe that there was not a conspiracy. Uh, I believe the
Okay.
Vagos when they told me that the all of them said that they actually liked Jethro and that they did not.
Right.
They
Right.
hated that this happened, and look, because of who Jabbers,
So me and
which
you have heard a little about before we get too far into it how they got here, and like maybe before they even left on their trip there was a member who maybe had some deals on a room at this hotel casino or whatever, and one of the dudes was like, hey, y'all know that ain't our casino that we usually go to. Is it worth it for this discount?
so that's Bob V, and Bob V set up to get the rooms. He had the discount or whatever, knowing that that is the Vagos hotel. And uh, now I'm hearing Steve Towson, actually, to contrary to what I've been hearing about his best friend, Steve Towson, the Santa Cruz president. Um, Steve Towson was against them staying there and was telling
Well,
them, why would you
it's
even
not a
go
good
there? It's going to be a
militant
problem.
strategic move in the first
It
place.
isn't. It's a terrible plan. Bob V did make a historic blunder, and
He did, and it's like when you ask these dudes, once it's already set up and he got the tickets, then you're all in a room. Like, are we gonna go? The guys who are pushing it will go, "What are you afraid? What are you scared?" And it's like, well, there's a difference between being scared and just putting yourself out there like
well,
that. So
there's so there are members of that charter at the time. Big Ange being one of them, who now I'm hearing they put out in bad standing in Idaho, which is crazy to me. But Big Ange, from what I understand, wasn't even planning on going to the run, and when he found out where they were staying and that Jethro was going, he had no other choice but to go.
and so then he put his own self in
Yeah,
danger, just like
right.
everybody else who went
Uh,
over a
and
bad call.
and he ended up being tased by cops and everything else. You can see it on the surveillance camera in the hotel. He comes out of the elevator. Uh, he gets a phone call. He was up in the room, and he gets a phone call that Jethro was hit. And
Right.
he comes down the elevator, and the cops try to stand in between him, and he just starts firing on
Bumped
cops and got
into a
it
little somebody in the elevator, allegedly on his way down.
right.
Maybe.
Uh, got his dequelo because of that incident. Um,
Right.
and
What you were
the
saying was the
cops,
cops said, "Why did you do that?" And they go, "What?" And he said, "What would you do if one of your man was down right
yeah.
there? You wouldn't
Well,
let me hold you back."
so that's what I hear was said to him in it's in the police reports. Uh, they take him down, and they said, "Well, why would you do that?" Because he rushed them to get by him when they tried to stop him. And from what I understand, the gist of what and Big Ange said was, "What if that was one of your guys that they had to carry out in the ambulance?" What would you
Right.
guys do? And
100%.
because of that, the charges went from assault to resisting, which is a much
Right.
lesser charge because the cops understood it and they were just like, "Yeah, you're right, you're right."
For the people
And
commenting back on the setup scenario, Rick's probably right. It wasn't a setup. If the dude was from El Salvador, wherever he was from, then he's seeing a lot. He has seen more than the usual suspect because those are where our
well,
gangs in America come from. When they got hardcore, was through people like that have seen more than us.
R- Romeo ain't no joke. He ain't no punk, and he's very
And so
calculated and
for it
cool and
not being a
calm.
set, if it was a setup, he Romeo would have just went in and took him right away. But the thing is,
Yeah.
they wouldn't. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, it wouldn't have been a setup because they had top notch, top ranking Vagos walking up to Jethro like, "Hey, dude, come on, we pulled
So
jabbers off you twice. The other guys are getting a little rowdy. You want to go back to your hotel?" And he's like, "Ah, get away from me,
yeah,
lames. I
yeah,
ain't talking to you. If you want to do something, do it. I'm gambling."
yeah.
A
Well,
G.
the way Jethro Jethro was walking towards the elevators from the bar area. He had
Jabbers
his
had to say one more
briefcase.
thing.
Jabbers jabs as Jethro's just going by him, right? And
And he
Jethro
got
in Jethro fashion.
gave him run right in the jabbers. Just the cleanest punch you'll ever see on video. Knocked
Here's
dude on his ass.
here's what you unless you've seen the video, uh Jethro's not that close. Jethro has to turn around, walk up to Jabbers, and as soon as he gets within firing range, fires on him. Bow, hits him dead in his mouth. And you could tell about Jabbers. I don't know if he wasn't expecting Jethro to be that hog, but Jabbers didn't
No,
come
he
back
was
at
not.
Jethro.
He was not.
Jabbers just stood there. He just stood there. He
He
got
got knocked
punched.
back.
He got punched till he was dangled. Yeah, face doodles. Oh no, they're after you already, but you're in the algorithm. So when Jethro boom tags Jabbers, Jabbers just stumbles back, goes like this, and Jethro goes straight to the briefcase. And
Dang.
and he gets to that briefcase and he says, "Nobody move, nobody gets hurt."
Hey, don't turn this mother effer into a crime scene right now, everybody. Just stand back.
And so
Dude, that thing
he
was a hog leg, too. He
it,
pulled out the
listen,
crowd pleaser. Yeah.
yeah,
Who
he pulled
wants
out
it?
Jack Sparrow, the good, the bad, the ugly type of, and and so Jethro runs up to another Bago, takes it and barrel, boom, just ding,
Bow. I think
and
he hit
then
him with the butt in his hand, dude. It
no,
looked like a hammer
mm-mm,
fist.
no,
No, it was a
no,
little barrel
he just
smack.
kind of whacked him with the barrel, and
Ooh, he just marked him up with
then
the end of the barrel.
then held on him, right, and then they kind of backed their way to around a little part like this round partition area, and there's another bar right there. Well, when he gets back to there, here's Caesar shoulder to shoulder with him. A Vago happens to be coming around that corner, and they put work. Boom, boom, boom. They're just giving it to him, and
They were
uh,
outnumbered so bad there was no winning this one. There was
right.
just making it out alive, and not everybody did.
So as this happens, they're looking at the bar, doing work on this Vago. This is when Romeo comes in behind. Bing, bing, bing. Just as that's happening, bing. Caesar's over here getting that boo. And from what I understand from the Vago side of things, is Romeo comes around the corner, He's already got the heat because he walked back behind a bar to get to where he was going, real smooth, methodical, right? As he comes and he sees, what does he see? He sees Caesar hit his cousin, and he boom, 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 lights off 5 times, hits Jethro on the back. Jethro goes down. Romeo takes off. Now, it was odd that there was a car running waiting for him.
Come on. And homeboy was like left through the kitchen and stuff and was watching at a certain angle. But the way you just explained it, like he should have been able to react faster. But he did. Car started and way out. Starting to look like a setup again.
That's
But
where
maybe
it,
it's just like this. We're all militant. When we go into scenarios like that, you're going to have dudes in the parking lot,
yeah,
obviously, in case
yeah,
something goes on. So he might have got a little phone call like, all right, it's heating up. Start the car.
right,
Start the car. Coming in hot.
right. So that part does, but I mean, Jabbers was arrested in the casino that night. Jabbers was going to be a part of the plot and plan to get
Dude,
Jethro
and then you
to.
know what Jabbers did? He lived up to his name and started snitching on everybody. So
So
instead of being the big bad tough guy that he was in the casino, he turned into a little jailhouse rat.
so immediately upon being arrested, Jabbers cuts a deal.
Crying.
Right. And the deal is that he'll take a plea deal on second degree sending somebody to the upper room, uh, with the 7 years being the high number, right? Now, he testifies against Romeo in the state trial, Nevada state trial. The judge,
Unreal. Your own team. He testified somebody against somebody on his own team. Not to say
yes.
it's right to testify against anybody ever, but your own team?
Well, he's the guy who caused everything. Jabbers caused all this. Now,
100%.
now he's become an
Gangsters
informant.
recognize respect. I don't care how
Right.
many it is versus how many. If the outnumbered ones being respectful, or even the ones that have the numbers, if when there's respect, it's good. But when
Right.
you start getting disrespectful, that's when the man code comes in, and that doesn't have to do with gangs, clubs, or
Yeah.
anything. And the man code is Jabbers was out of line all the way around in everything he did in
Well,
this whole thing.
the balls on Jethro or is just it's
The
unreal.
balls on that guy are just, he should have had a wheelbarrow pushing those things around.
God.
Because
Uh
the dude, just to walk through a group of an enemy club is bad enough, but to turn around and just give it to one right in the mouth, right in the
a dead
kisser,
end. Boom.
right in his jabbers,
And Jethro
and
has
just I
one
think he
leg.
stumbled back pretty damn good. He set
Jethro
him back.
has had a prosthetic leg for a long time since he was young. He got into an accident, I believe it was, and lost his leg since he was young.
Right.
And now, and Jethro's in his 50s, right?
In a club where thousands of people, 1,000, who knows, maybe 5,000 dudes. When you pass away and you're one of the 1 out of 5 names that is constantly brought up in the United States, it wasn't just some nobody or just a patched member or just a really good member. This dude was like, he was everything. He was the last living American outlaw wearing
Well,
that patch, in my opinion.
he was respected by even the team that ended up sending him to the upper room.
He had a presence, man. Like I said, there was a Vago hang around that came around the Hells Angels in Washington, and when we went through San Jose, he almost got sent to the upper room himself. And that was just because of what happened to Jethro. It came through that many years later. There's still dudes out hunting.
Yeah,
So, and
yeah.
Jethro also had this beautiful display case in the San Jose clubhouse. It's got his patches, his pins, maybe his leg. It's just something that when you stand in front of it, it has power coming off of it. You can feel the stuff in this case because I feel like I never met Jethro, but I already know him from all the stories I've heard in jail, from Mongols outside of jail, from Hell's Angels, and just from standing in his clubhouse where he where he ran that shit while
Well,
he was
that's
around is just was I feel like I know the guy. I respect him. I know that.
so. So after everything was said and done, all the court cases could be done. They got the evidence back. One of the pieces of evidence is the cut that Jethro was wearing at the time that had obviously holes in it,
I've
5
seen it.
holes, 10 holes really. Uh, and I think Big Ange is the one who personally built the case that it's sitting on the wall in right now.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was
Angelo built a table, I
mhm,
believe, out of it at first, and then it was in a display case that might be in the wall now. It's made its moves
mhm,
around, but oh,
yeah,
it's definitely always where everybody can see it.
yeah. And
And
that's the
arguably
actual
one of the
cut.
most loved and respected Hells Angels in the world at that time.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Only second only to Cisco.
Right.
That's how I put it. Well, at least on the west coast of the United States, it was Cisco, Jethro, Papa, Steve Tossin,
Yep.
Smiling Rick.
Smiling.
It's true. It's true.
Smiling was in trouble for a while there, so he doesn't. He's on the list, but he was behind bars. Now
Well,
he's out doing his thing.
at that time, my
Right. 100%.
and Robert
100%.
Poland was a force then too, but
Yep.
uh, still is, but not in the
And
club
this is the
anymore.
thing too. This is what me and Rick talk about a lot is the whole dynamic of the club change. Once you lost Jethro, Tossin, Papa, you're losing pillars and big voices and the other
Yeah.
clubs. It wasn't all by one club, it was separate clubs, but they took out the head of the snake multiple times. And it really they didn't take the club out, but they put a new spin on the way of the death head in my mind for sure.
Well, without their leadership, the state of the club is in dire straits right now on the west coast of the United States.
Yeah, we had a little freeze up.
Did we?
I did.
So without those men, the west coast of the Hell's Angels is just it's burnt now. You know,
It's not looking
without
good.
their leadership, it's in peril because nobody no. And don't get me wrong, there are some really great and we call them young, but from their 30s to their 40s in the Hells Angels in America right now. But there aren't as many as the great OGs that were lost in that time frame. So I don't know if you're frozen or if I'm frozen. Rusty Coons is a legend. Rusty Coons is a legend. Oh yeah. Oh well, to me, you're frozen. Hey, somebody said, Rick, that shirt is hard as can be. Thank you.
Well, I can hear you. Can everybody else hear us? I know
There
it's
you
getting
are.
choppy, but I can hear you.
There you are. Rusty was my Q ball says. There you go. Uh, and that's not to say that those were the only leaders that were in 81 at the time. Those were just very, very powerful voices and the up front, the Mount Rushmore. If you look at it, that's what it is. You lost the Mount
Right.
Rushmore of the Hells Angels leadership in Cisco, Mr. 187, Jethro, and Papa. That's the Mount Rushmore at that time of Northern California Hells Angels was all lost within a couple of years.
Man.
It's nuts.
Yeah, and that really it put a big change on everything, man. I all my stuff. Oh, Mark, can you see me?
Yeah.
All my stuff's completely frozen. I'm just asking. All right, I
That's
got her
well,
on
you
Do Not
gotta
Disturb.
now you can't hey
Now I
listen, you
see you.
can't run this and run that in the background. It's an amateur move
I
and you hate to
know.
see it happen. It's okay though.
Wow, Rick. All
It's just
right,
growing
now
pains.
it's growing. I still can't see your ass. There you go. There it is.
What a and to
Here,
think
let me put my Wi-Fi back on. Moon
my fever was down from
amateur.
103 to like 100 this morning, and he calls me and says, "Can you jump on here and do this?" I said, "Ok- "Yeah." At first, I said no, but then I was like, "Yeah."
Wow.
Oh, there it
Come
is.
on,
Bigfoot
Rick.
sent you a gift.
Hey. So hey, we're on. We're back on live. It's flowing. So
We've been
Jethro,
on the whole
man, we
time.
are we are at the part where hey, the deed is done. Rest in peace to the big homie, one of the biggest legends ever in the club. We're trying to tell you guys how, just losing him, tossing Papa, the list goes on. But when you lose that many leaders, things are going to change. Things
Yeah,
are going to change, and they didn't
that was the
necessarily
Mount
change
Rushmore.
for the. That was the Mount Rushmore. That was your four pillars in front of the building. When you knock those pillars down, the building
Yeah,
crumbles.
yeah,
Not to say there isn't good dudes left or there wasn't then. There is a
of
handful,
course.
but it'll just never be the same.
Well, yeah, but then you got Big Willie, from Oakland. They lost. Uh, Robert Poland being put out from Daly City, 60-year member. Uh,
Man.
Doc Doc from Lowell transferred out, and
So
Sack
during
actually
all
got
this,
him.
this is in
Made
my
the
mind when the
patches for
Hells
50
Angels
years.
were still at the top of the hill. When Jethro and
100%.
these dudes were running it, they were still at the top of the hill and they were holding down the enemies with with
100%.
uh with brute force. They were keeping them off. They were playing King of the Hill and they were winning. And now when these kings went down, the hill started growing to what it is today. And I don't think they're King of the Hill anymore. I would have to say the
No.
King of the Hill is black and white at this point.
Yes. Yes. 100%. And the fall has.
Just freezing up bad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Damn. Anyway, for King of the Hill, I'll just keep talking. Hey, we can hear you.
I'm here. I'm here. All right. All right. Well, real choppy.
We'll just.
So hey, we got to get to the funeral.
All right. Well, I mean,
I can see you. Here you are again. All right. Where do we go from what we just said? Everything's spinning out of control. They lost a good member. They still have to get home, talk about everything that just went down. Now they might just on each other a little bit and be fighting because it's like, I told you we weren't supposed to be there. And the other one's like, it's not my fault. And I told you this
well,
and get out back.
so a lot happened over this. Everybody from San Jose was instantly. Steve Tossin was on it. Where were you? Why weren't you next to him? How could this have
Oh,
happened?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh, he blamed Stevie Ruiz, the sergeant at arms of San Jose, for not being there because Jethro told him not to be there because he was having substance or alcohol issues at the time. He was having issues, and allegedly, that's what I've been told. Um, so Stevie Ruiz wasn't even in Nevada; he was in Cali at the time, and then Bob V, who paid and booked the rooms
Set
in the
up
Vagos
the
Hotel.
rooms. Bad move.
Hmm. And he was put out bad for that. Uh, Mr. 187 beat Stevie Ruiz badly at the
So
clubhouse.
when we get to Jethro's, okay, at the clubhouse, they're already fighting. Like I
Hmm.
said, they got to get home. They got to fight over everything that just happened. They're
Yeah,
heartbroken. They're angry. They just lost their leader, and they still have to move on and strongly. And
yeah,
and so they set up this funeral, huge,
One of them,
biggest Hell's
yeah,
Angels,
yeah.
biggest
Everybody
Hell's
says it's
Angels,
the biggest Hell's
the
Angels
biggest, the
funeral that
baddest,
they've
the
been to.
largest, and chargest, biggest Hell's Angel thing you
Yeah,
ever seen. And we
yeah.
keep mentioning this man, Steve Tossin, another San Jose legend, another one that when Rick's feeling better, maybe in a week or so, we'll let this one digest. We can get real into Mr.
Steve Dawson.
187 because he is every bit as loved as Jethro and loved Jethro so much that
That was his
he
best friend.
beat some dude so bad at the funeral that the dude was begging him to stop and he wouldn't stop. And Steve Tossin himself ended up getting sent to the upper room. Rick, can you elaborate on that?
It's something like
At a
that.
funeral, one of the craziest
So,
things you've ever heard. We already lost a legend, and now another legend
so
goes at
yeah,
his funeral.
at Jethro's funeral, Stevie Ruiz had the mitts put on him the night before, uh, at the San Jose clubhouse by Steve Tossin. And at the funeral, looking over the coffin, Steve Tossin sees Stevie Ruiz and says, "What? You want some more of what I gave you?" And starts to make his walk towards him. And from what I understand, I know he probably doesn't like us talking about him, and I got no qualms with him. He's a good Hell's Angel. Big Jeremy was a prospect and kind of walked in kind of behind Stevie Ruiz. And Stevie pulled out the blammer and sent Steve Tossin to the upper room. So,
So hey, that's what we're gonna give y'all today, man. That's
yeah,
what we got. This is a little choppy. I hope the first one didn't just stop and upload to YouTube. All this one only says 6 minutes, but I'm sure we went longer than that.
yeah,
So
we're
hopefully
fine.
they'll add together. It's not gonna drop them on me.
Yeah.
It might.
Well, we'll end it at that, and then we'll pick up when you put your phone on do not disturb and Wi-Fi on.
Hey, shout out to everybody that's watching. Hit that like, hit the subscribe. Hey, go follow Vegas Profile Stories if you're not here from there already. And man, we'll be bringing you hot content. I'll be dropping some stuff. I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. And hey, catch y'all on the flip side.
Yeah, I'm saying. Oh, hey, I got an interview tonight.